How will Capitol Hill react to this latest shooting? Yet another shooting. This one, of course, in Texas. Michael Law, good morning. Thanks for coming on. What do you expect here?
I suspect that we will hear the same things as we've always heard in the past, which is Republicans will say we need to pray for the students and pray for the school and so forth, and the Democrats calling for more gun control. That is
every time,
really.
Yeah. And every time one of these shootings happens, you have to feel that it places those anti-gun people, those gun control people, in a bit of a better position. Do you agree with that at all?
Yes and no. And the reason why I do agree with it is because they're going to use it as far as they possibly can.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, look at what we did with what they did with Florida. I disagree with it in that it does not take away from the actual truth of the matter, which is that these inanimate objects called firearms have nothing to do with it. It is always the individual perpetrator who is in complete control of the situation. And the fundamental problem is, there are two actual fundamental problems. One is we do not teach, not only in our houses, in our own homes and families, as well as our schools, we do not teach the principle of what is right and what is wrong. It's all principles are relative to what the individual thinks.
Yeah.
But there is a truth that there is right and there is wrong.
I do wonder how could a kid, when you think about your own children and your own life growing up as a kid, I could never imagine taking a gun, pointing it at a person, and pulling the trigger, because I know the consequences. I know what that would mean. Somewhere along the line, you may be right. Are we not teaching the value of life to our kids?
Yeah, in a lot of ways. For example, I know that this kid is probably not going to see the death penalty. If we had regardless of age, the death penalty should be applied to whomever takes a life, especially one that takes a life intentionally like this. And if individuals see that consequence, instead of sitting on death row for 20 years, 30 years, or however long, if they're put to death immediately like they have done to their innocent victims, then we would see a little bit less of that. But the real problem is that we're not teaching what is right and what is wrong. And another problem is that we are not allowing for our God-given individual liberties to protect our own lives, liberties and property, in a way that we see fit.
Yeah.
By taking guns out of schools, making gun-free zones, it never, ever works.
Do you think that, I'm pretty sure these resource officers had guns. There were 2 in the school. Are there measures we can take? For instance, listen, my father was a gunsmith at Remington Arms in our community up here. Is a gunsmith today, but I got to tell you, his guns are all locked up. I couldn't have access as a kid to my father's guns. I never would have had access. Is that part of the problem? And is it wrong to, background checks? Is it wrong to go down that road where, at the very least, and I understand it's not going to change the problem. The problem is the individual. But if you can make it a little more difficult for that individual, are we in a better place?
No, because they will find other means. For example, when Sandy Hook happened and number of people, number of students and teacher was killed, on that very same day in China, 20-something students were stabbed with a knife.
Right.
So it is not we can do all these measures that we want. It's not going to prevent it. What we have to do is teach our children not only what their rights are to defend themselves, because we don't allow it in schools, even with bullying. If you get hit as a student, you're not allowed to hit back. So that is one of the problems. All
right, so you think we should be able to hit back?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you have a fundamental individual right to defend your life, liberty, and property. And if
Sure.
they're willing to punch you in the nose, who knows how far they're willing to go, such as this kid.
Well, Michael Law, it used to be punching in the nose. And kids would gather around and you'd watch a fist fight.
Yeah, it'd be the circle up
Yeah.
idea.
You'd get detention, suspension, something like that. It is what it is. Today, they're coming to school with guns. It's really, really crazy. We appreciate your time. Thanks so much for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Right. Michael Law